The other day, I found myself pondering, as I often do. It's a complicated world out there. Much to ponder, much to digest. I was listening to the song Digital Love by the well-renowned French house duo Daft Punk. The song's pleasant melody and intoxicating aura really got me thinking, what is digital love? Is it a real thing? Can love truly exist within a digital plane? Is this digital love? Does Abigail actually love me, or is it merely because she is programmed to do so? This is love, by definition, and this is digital, but it's not true. It's not real. And I found myself sobbing, weeping even, thinking about how unrealistic this song was, how impossible it is to find true love and compassion in this heartless world. At least not unless I do the unthinkable and go outside. But then the song's chorus began, and it was like my eyes were forced open by the will of God. These lyrics portray so much meaning regarding this topic. Why don't you play the game? Why don't you play the game? Why don't you play the game? Why don't I play the game? But what game are they referring to? What game exists out there that is solely dedicated to finding love in a digital environment, free from the shackles of this mortal plane? What game can I go to find love behind a screen? And then it hit me. Honey Pop 2, The Bachelor for the Nintendo DS. Yeah, all the usual questions I ask apply here as well. Why does this exist? Who thought it was a good idea? Who is this meant for? Etc. But they're all still valid questions. Questions I won't be able to answer on account of there just not being a whole lot of info on this game. I mean, I didn't look too hard, but there wasn't a Wikipedia page or anything. Yeah, sorry to any history teachers out there, but I consult Wikipedia first and foremost whenever I write these videos. Side note, did you guys know that Gordon Freeman dies in All Dogs Go to Heaven 2? I found that pretty interesting. According to the cover, this game was published by Warner Bros. Games, who also published the Arkham series, so I'm gonna assume that means they're of the same quality. So this wonderful hidden gem begins with, well, not much of anything. There's barely even a menu. It's as basic can get. I am forced to create a profile for myself, which just consists of a name and a gender. Now, the game is called The Bachelor, which is a show with female contestants, which means in order to get the intended experience, I'd have to play a female character. But I have a sneaking suspicion this game might have a graphic sex minigame akin to the hot coffee mod, and I actually do know how to properly operate a penis, so I'll just go with male anyways. Home field advantage. This game works on a level-based structure. There's 15 levels, or episodes, split between 5 seasons. Each season has you playing as a different guy trying to win the affection of the Bachelorette. Unfortunately, you have to play as a different person each season, which is a huge bummer. I was hoping to play as the same guy every time and just collect bachelorettes like Infinity Stones. In Season 1, I'm playing as a nameless photographer and trying to win the affection of Deanna Papa Johns, who's in the business of real estate, but on the side she does modeling jobs as what not to do in Blender. This info was of course given to me by the show's host, Chris Harrison. Side note, I at first misread his name as Chris Hansen, and I thought this was going in a very different direction. So, being a DS-era shovelware game, The Bachelor truly stands out amongst its contemporaries, seeing as it's a fucking minigame collection. This is the whole game. You complete pointless, unrelated minigames against an AI opponent, then you do a single-player minigame, and if you make it all the way past that, then you get a cutscene of the Bachelorette not being totally repulsed by your presence. Oh, and you win a PNG of a rose, la-di-fucking-da. Rinse and repeat 3 more times, and what you've got right there is a whole season. Now that that's out of the way, let's take it back to the beginning. Let me describe what exactly it is you do in those minigames. These are supposed to represent group dates with the Bachelorette and another possible suitor. You and this other single loser will compete in various date activities such as lifting hot air balloons, racing on ATVs, and using the stylus to remove hexagons from an image of 2 hockey sticks while a hockey puck slides around and tries to bite off your fingers. Yeah, we've all been there before. Those are all group dates in Season 1, Episode 1, and after completing them comes the one-on-one date with Papa John's herself. The Bachelorette has chose you, and she would like to keep the intimacy going. She's waiting for you in here with a bottle of her finest. Oh, are we gonna get drunk and throw bricks at people? That's my all-time favorite date activity. Now, it looks like what she's actually invited me over for was just to look at each other. Oh, and also so I could grab feathers out of the air. And as a reward, she's opted to not kick me out of the competition. Not that there was any doubt, seeing as I can retry the minigame as many times as I want. I'm not sure if I'm even really all that excited to have gotten this far, though. I feel nothing for this woman. Maybe it's because neither she nor any of the other bachelorettes have any dialogue anywhere in the game. You barely interact with them outside of the speechless cutscenes. The only people you do talk to are the other contestants, so this game is barely about gaining the approval of a potential lover, and more about proving you've got the biggest crotch. Honestly, I get more of a feeling of accomplishment from losing the dates and seeing the failure cutscenes, since they're usually just stupid enough to make me lightly exhale from my nose, because violence makes me giggle. A favorite of mine is this one, where I'm meeting the Bachelorette's parents, who've given us a smorgasbord of foods to consume. And if you fail the minigame, then you mash 2 crackers together like a toddler trying to figure out how Lego bricks connect, and then try to force it down her throat. It's very classy. Back to the actual gameplay. I've progressed to the 2nd episode, where now I'm catching casino chips falling from the sky. Which makes no sense from a logical standpoint, because everything I've learned in various science classes has taught me that those are man-made and don't fall from the sky. What actually bugs me the most about this minigame is that it's just a clone of the feather minigame from the last episode. Not that I didn't expect some minigames to repeat themselves, but damn, this early? Well, it's probably an outlier. Surely they didn't run out of ideas this soon, right? Nope. The very next game is also a clone of a previous minigame. At least they had the decency to give them new themes. Points for doing the bare minimum. Of course, that doesn't last forever either, and eventually they start just reusing entire minigames like it's nothing. Instead of going over every episode and discussing each minigame individually like I would have otherwise, I've compiled a list of every recurring minigame type, and I'll be arranging them on a tier list. A concept that Pyrocynical blatantly stole from me for his Cruelty Squad video a month ago. The first one I came across was the classic, keep a bar inside an area by tapping a button. We've all played this exact game before. It's nothing new, it's nothing groundbreaking, and it's not even fun to control. C. Touchscreen racing is up next. This type involves using the touchscreen to drag a vehicle around and stick to a path. It's supposed to be a race, but I think a race would have to involve a challenge, which this doesn't, since the CPUs always just go off the trail immediately. Still, comparatively more fun than a lot of other things in this list, so I'll give it a B. This one here has you staring at blurry pictures and answering questions about them as they slowly come into focus. I assume these are images taken from the Bachelor TV show, but due to me not watching it, it kinda just feels like I'm looking at a yearbook for a high school I didn't go to. They actually do claim it's pictures of us, but I don't know. I don't have any memories of being a guy in a blue shirt with massive biceps, as much as I wish I did. D. Catching falling objects. Prepare your adrenaline glands, people, because this is as exciting as the game ever gets. Yeah, that's a C. Now, of course, there has to be a simple memory game. That's what, like the third video in a row involving a memory game? Is this just my thing now? It's the most boring idea you could ever possibly have for an activity in a video game, but I'm putting it in A entirely on the grounds of how easy it is to cheat in it. What's the heaviest object? Yes, that's also a date type. Pretty wacky. You watch scales with stuff on them and choose the Bachelorette's favorite item, but then the game itself says she wants the heaviest item, which just tells me that the Bachelorette likes them large, and you know what, I respect that. C. Tracing objects with the stylus. F. Jigsaw puzzles. C. Okay, now last and least without a doubt is the stupid-ass hexagon thing I mentioned earlier. Someone on the dev team really liked this game because they use it so freaking often. And it's, of course, the one least similar to something you would actually do on a date. Not that I've been on any dates to compare it to, but still. Another reason it makes me so unhappy is because it's kinda difficult. Like, it actually took me a few tries sometimes, whereas every other minigame is painfully easy. And I kid you not when I say it happens for like half of the one-on-one dates in the entire game. When you reach an intimate event at the end of an episode, there is a 50-50 chance you'll either have to do the same hexagons and circles shtick again, or get to do something mildly interesting, like swatting at an endless swarm of wasps dive-bombing into the floor and killing themselves. Why do I even need to swat at them? It only hastens the inevitable. Eventually they stop caring and start giving you not just the same minigames with new themes, but the same minigames with the same themes. They didn't even bother to give all of the more special one-on-one dates their own cutscenes. These are the same cutscene with swapped models. That's just sad. At the very least, it's not a very long game. I was playing it in minuscule doses over a couple of days because I'm not a masochist, but I'm positive that if I was sitting there and playing it intently, I'd beat it in like an hour. Now, fast forward to the final date in the final episode of the final season, and wow, a new cutscene and a new theme. Maybe they pulled out something interesting for the final boss. Wait, it's just hexagons again. And it's hard now, too. This took way more tries than it should have. Maybe I don't want to win the minigame this time. I mean, when I lose, I get to do this. And this is the most entertaining thing that's happened in the whole game. And what's the alternative? I get to not push her over a park bench? And then we get married? After only 3 episodes? Yeah, I don't think so, pal. And that's the campaign mode of the game. The blandest stale crackers you ever did eat. Maybe the alternate modes can pick up the slack. I do see those 2 other options on the main menu just calling out my name. Let's see what those things are, starting with Fantasy Suite. That sounds pretty interesting. Too bad it's neither pretty nor interesting. It's just a place to rewatch cutscenes you've already witnessed. So what about the other one, Love Test? Oh well, this is much more interesting. It's a place that lets you take personality quizzes, then they take the data from those quizzes and use it to see how well you'd match with other profiles on the cartridge, and or preset profiles of various contestants. I'm not sure how accurate the data actually is though, because it told me my dating style is the brain, and my leisure style is worker bee, and I am both the stupidest and laziest person I know, so I think something got messed up bad in the testing process. And even with those falsely gained good attributes, I still didn't match well with any of the pre-made Bachelorette profiles, so I have no idea what these people want from me. I think they only react positively to being good at minigames, which is very inaccurate to real-life dating. Last time I tried to woo a girl by showing off my minigame skill, it did not go well. Overall, The Bachelor is a bottom-of-the-barrel license game, as could probably be easily determined from an outside glance. It's not good, and it's not comedically bad, it's just bland. It's in a limbo between qualities where nothing fun can be derived. maybe it's only enjoyable if you're a pre-established fan of the show. So if it's what I must do, then I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of my dignity in order to gain a better perspective. I'm going to watch a few episodes of The Bachelor so I can gain a better understanding of the complexities of this franchise. Where were the hexagons? This is a very late edit, but long after I wrote the script, I found out that this game is just a slightly downgraded version of a Wii game that has like actual graphics and voice acting, and I didn't know that it existed. So I'm not gonna fix the scripts. Just pretend like that version never existed, and this was the only version. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.